Hello everybody, how's it going? I'm Prince Dumi and today I'm going to be talking about Classroom of the Elite. I'll be talking mostly about the anime and the light novels and the differences between them and why I think the anime will probably never get a second season. Okay, so last year I discovered Classroom of the Elite during the lockdown while I was watching a lot of anime, and I thought it was great. It was very thrilling, it was very mysterious, and Ayano Koji was a very interesting protagonist, and there were so many things I wanted to know about him and about Kushida and about the school, and especially after that cliffhanger at the end of season 1 when we realized that he didn't see Horikita or anybody as a friend, but he saw everyone as tools. I just wanted to know what was going on, and I was so eager to watch a second season. So you can imagine my surprise when I found out that there was no second season, and that there probably wouldn't be because of how poorly the anime was received by the light novel readers. So I decided to do a little research. I decided to check Reddit, I decided to check YouTube, I decided to check different articles to just find out why the light novel readers were not happy with the anime and why that would probably mean that there wouldn't be a season 2. And every time I went and looked around anywhere online, I found a lot of different contradicting reports. Some were saying that the reason why there wasn't going to be a season 2 was because the anime studio that was doing this never does second seasons. Other reports were saying that because apparently it didn't handle the ship between Ayano Koji and Horikita very well that was shown in the light novels, and others were like, there were just so many different reasons that was given from every platform I looked at, and none of them seemed to line up. So I decided to read the light novels for myself and find out why the anime was not very successful with the light novel readers. And I discovered why as I read more and more. Let me start off by saying that I thought the anime was great. I've watched it more than once and I still enjoy it. Even after reading the light novels, I still thought the anime was great. Now that I've read the light novels and I can compare it to the anime, I can see why light novel readers were upset. And I can also see why we probably won't ever get a second season. Our only chance of ever getting a second season is if another studio or the same studio decides to redo the entire anime Brotherhood style or Fruits Basket style, because they really took creative liberties with this light novel when they turned it into an anime. In fact, they took liberties with it as well when they turned it into a manga. The only way you're ever going to see the story the way it was meant to be shown is if you read the light novels, because of how the anime and the manga both decided to take their own creative liberties with the story. Now, let me start off with the anime. First of all, the anime only provides 25 characters per class, whereas in the light novels, it's 40 characters per class. That means almost half the characters are already cut out of the story, which can mess up future arcs. That is kind of a big deal. Secondly, well, this isn't as big a deal to me, but it also can be, I guess. Personality traits were either added or removed from certain characters. For example, with Ayano Koji, he's presented as more cold and more calculating and more robotic in the anime than he is in the light novels. In the light novels, he is still very cold and calculating, but he also has a little more humanity to him. Not much, but it is there. The other big change in the anime that I believe would have made a lot of light novel readers upset, and that would have even made me upset, was how Horikita was handled. In the anime, Horikita is very competent and she is being used a lot in the anime. Like, she and Ayano Koji constantly work together to solve all sorts of problems in different arcs. And yes, you can also see that Ayano Koji is using her to hide the fact that he's so brilliant, but she is way more active and way more cooperative and way more useful in the anime than she is in the light novels. In the light novels, Horikita's personal flaws and her distance from other people and her arrogant attitude that she is the best constantly makes her a very useless ally to Ayano Koji. Ayano Koji does use Horikita to hide his genius and to hide his brilliance in the light novels, just like he does in the anime, but all of the useful things, well, more like almost all of the useful things that Horikita does in the anime were done in the light novels by other female characters. In other words, they took moments from other characters and they gave them to Horikita to build up her relationship with Ayano Koji. Like, the anime makes them seem a lot closer than they actually are. Yeah, sure, in the first arcs of the light novels, Horikita and Ayano Koji do spend a lot of time together, and she does rely on him a lot. But as things go on, you see that she relies on him way more than he relies on her. Yeah, he relies on her to hide the fact that he's a brilliant genius, and he uses her as a decoy to hide his own masterminding behind Class D. But she is not as integral to many of the things that happens in the light novels as the anime makes it seem. Because of how unreliable she is as an ally, he has had to rely on other characters. The way the actions and moments of other girls were given to Horikita reminds me a lot of how the Harry Potter movies took all of Ron Weasley's best quotes and best moments from the books and gave them to Hermione in the movies. It's pretty much the same thing. Horikita gained a lot of moments and a lot of characterization that does not exist in the light novels. It feels like the writers for the anime were trying to ship Ayano Koji and Horikita way more than the light novels did. Honestly, I can't even see those two in a romantic light in the light novels, but in the anime, I can actually ship them. But I can't in the light novels because it just wouldn't work. The anime is pretty good on its own, and I can still rewatch it even now and enjoy it. But if I'm being honest with myself, if the anime had chosen to be more faithful to the story, we could have probably gotten more seasons, and it would have been worth it, because the way we see Horikita grow because of how much of a useless person she is in the first 4 volumes is really rewarding in the future volumes. And when you see the way Ayano Koji grows, because he's not just attached to her, but he's attached to other characters as the story progresses, it is so rewarding. Because the anime chose to take its own creative liberties with the story, we'll probably never get a second season, which means we'll get no answers for why Ayano Koji is the way he is. We don't get any answers why Kushida is the way she is. We don't get any resolution to any plot points that were raised up, and then that cliffhanger never gets used. And by the way, that cliffhanger only happens in the anime. It is not in the light novels. The moment where you find out that Ayano Koji doesn't see Horikita as a friend and that he sees everybody as tools happens much earlier, when they're still on the island. It doesn't happen on the ship. The anime chose to move it to the ship. Honestly, they should have just stuck to the light novels. The anime is great, but it would have been better and it would have benefited more if they had just stuck to the story the way it was presented in the light novels. Another thing the anime did differently from the light novels is that it added a lot of scenes that didn't actually exist in the light novels, while excluding scenes that did exist in the light novels, scenes that I thought would have made the story a lot better. If they had just included those scenes instead of making up new ones, I think that would have added more richness to the story as a whole. Anyway, let's talk about the manga, in case some of you are thinking of reading the manga instead of reading the light novels. How does the manga differ from the anime? The manga tries to blend some things from the light novels and some things from the anime together, but the biggest issue I had with it was the fact that it added more emotion and more personality to all of the characters. They are so different in the manga as compared to the anime and the light novels. At least in the anime, even though the anime added some extra personality traits or removed some personality traits, the characters still resembled their light novel selves. But the manga made these characters into people they were not. Ayano Koji was way more emotive and expressive than he ever was in light novel or anime. And Horikita and Kushida were shown to be way more vulnerable and way more human in the manga than they ever were in the anime or light novel. There were scenes where characters acted in a very cold way or cruel way or scary way in the light novels and in the anime, but when they were shown in the manga, they made those characters look more vulnerable and they made them look more understandable. They made them look more lovable sometimes, and it ended up taking context away from those scenes. The entire context of a scene gets changed when you change the way a character responds to it, or when you change the way a character expresses themselves in it. And this is what happened. And I'm sorry, I know my hands are moving a lot like that student council president at Orogairu. I don't mean to do that. That's just kind of what happens when I do my recording. So that's a funny thought for all those of you who've been watching Oregairu and who love it. And by the way, it is a great show. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. It's so good. I haven't read the light novels, but I plan to sometime down the line.
Yeah, you tell him.
What?
Let me give you an example of how the manga changes things from the light novels and from the anime. Remember that scene in the anime when Ayano Koji finds out Kushida's dark side, and then she comes up to him and she threatens to accuse him of rape if he tells anybody about that? In that scene, in the anime and in the light novel, she was cold, she was cruel, and she was frightening. But in the manga, she actually looks kind of scared when she's threatening him. Like, really, really scared and vulnerable. And she looks like super desperate when she's threatening him because of how scared and how vulnerable she looks. That already takes away from the cruel feeling that you get from her. And that is not supposed to happen. She's supposed to put this chill down your spine. She's supposed to make you feel so shocked by the way her good side contrasts from her really, really dark side, because that dark side of her is the real her. And that's just one moment where the manga changes things from the light novels and the anime. I honestly don't know why the mangaka and the... I don't know if I pronounced that right, but whatever. I don't know why the mangaka and the writers for the anime didn't just stick to the story and didn't just stick with the personalities as presented in the story and didn't just stick to the arcs the way they were presented in the story. Maybe they didn't trust the anime watchers to get hooked into the story like the light novel readers did. Maybe they didn't trust that the anime watchers would be as invested in the story. I don't know. But personally, I think that tweaking these characters and tweaking these moments the way they did was a mistake, because that ultimately ended up changing the context of the story and the context of many scenes that ended up happening. So if you want my personal recommendation, I say read the light novels. I'm not going to say the anime is trash, because I did enjoy it, but as somebody who wanted to continue watching the story, reading the light novels from the very beginning to where I am now has been super rewarding. I just finished volume 7 a few days ago and I was so hooked. Even now, I just want to jump straight into volume 8 just because of how well volume 7 ended. It has been a really long time since I got this hooked to a story. Like, I actually procrastinated for 2 days because I just couldn't stop reading. It was that good, and I just wish it could have been adapted as an anime. Like, it would have been so good to see that in the anime, but we won't ever get to because they changed things. I really, really wish they hadn't changed things. The light novels are so good, and I am so thirsty for more. Like, I really, really want to see what happens next. Oh, it's so good. So really, I recommend reading the light novels. It is worth it, and I recommend you start from the very beginning so that you can see these moments and these chapters the way they were supposed to happen, and that you can see these characters the way they were supposed to be shown. Because the anime covers the first four volumes, and it covers them well enough, but it could have done better. I hope that in a few years this light novel series gets the Brotherhood treatments just like Fruits Basket did. I hope that in a few years we'll get a full adaptation and we'll get to actually see the story end on our screens and not just in the books, because I think it would make a really good anime if done right, especially since it was already so good when it wasn't done right. Imagine how good it would be if it was done right. The next video I make, I want to talk about Toradora because I've been reading the light novels for that as well, and last year Toradora became my favorite love story ever when I originally didn't have a favorite love story. That's how good I think it was, and so far from the light novels I'm enjoying it even more. The anime was amazing and I'm loving all of the extra stuff that the light novels are giving me, so I really want to talk about that. I just finished the swimming race arc in the light novels and I want to read it a bit more before I talk about it, or maybe I will talk about it in my next video. I don't know. I keep taking forever to upload more, but I do want to be faster. Anyway, for those of you who have been watching, thank you for watching till the end. If you want to see more, please subscribe. If you like this video, please hit like. If you want to leave a comment, please comment below. I'm Prince Dumi, and I'll see you guys next time. May the Force be with you.